Well, Popo Molefe joins me in studio now. Mr. Molefe, thank you so much for coming into studio to chat to us this evening. I want to go back to that top six meeting in 2015, and I wonder if you could tell us why you spoke to the top six about what was going on in Prasa. What was your intention? What did you tell them? Just tell us about that meeting.
Well, the purpose of me going to talk to the top six of the ANC is fully articulated in my affidavit to the State Capture Commission. But we proceed from the basis that as a leader of the ANC, though I was not a member of the National Executive Committee, I remained a disciplined member of the organization. And I understood that where the organization and its government that it was leading was not responding to the hard work that the board that I was leading was doing in its fight against corruption. It was necessary for me to go there and challenge the top six of the ANC to do something about it. And fundamentally, I was saying the ANC as a governing party is a custodian of the laws of our country, the Constitution and all the related laws. And it should jealously guard against any abrogation of those laws and the violation of those laws. And that the ANC, having deployed me as its cadre to head such an important organ of state that served the poorest of the poor by way of affordable rail transportation, it should take keen interest in ensuring that that entity was protected and functioned properly.
Now, we know that you did go forward and get investigations underway, and you actually stopped quite a lot of the rot. So what did you want from the top six? Was it that political support? And what was their response?
Certainly I wanted political support. The minister to whom I was accounting was appointed by that top six, was accounting to the top six, to the National Executive Committee and the cabinet in government. This attempt by the president to build a Chinese wall between the ANC and the government cannot fly, because the ANC has a responsibility for ensuring good governance in the country. In that meeting of the top six, I was sitting there with the current president, who was the leader of government business, and the president of the country was the leader of the cabinet, and the others who were very important people in the organization. And they can't wash their hands and absolve themselves from this very important matter.
Did you get the support you wanted politically?
I did not get the support. On the contrary, after that meeting, I faced a barrage of attacks by members of the ANC who were in the portfolio committee on transport. The minister also began attacking us, resulting in my board being dissolved by a structure that had no authority to dissolve the board. I mean, Parliament does not appoint boards of directors, and it cannot, therefore, dissolve a board of directors. That is why I challenged the minister not to abuse power in that regard. So I never got the support. That is why once that board was made dysfunctional, nobody in the ANC, not the president, not the deputy president, said to the minister, hey, this person, Popo Molefe, and the directors on that board are by and large our deployees.
So am I right that you were looking for some sort of political protection, because you were obviously ruffling feathers by wanting to investigate potentially corrupt acts, and you're saying you didn't get that? What did they actually say to you at the meeting?
I was really not looking for political protection. I was looking for the leaders who are in the party and government to discharge their responsibilities towards society, towards the South African public. For example, to the extent that we had tabled reports with the Hawks and nothing was being done. I expected that the top six should say to the Minister of Justice, the Minister of Police, tell the organ of state that accounts to you to report to you what it is doing about this matter.
Let's take a listen to something the President said about you yesterday, where he called your attitude a little disingenuous. Let's just have a listen to that.
I find that a bit disingenuous for a person who's been clothed with all the powers of a position to then say, I felt powerless. And the support that he sought on the issue of a PFMA was a given. And he said, this is what I'm now going to do because I'm being subjected to these attacks. I am going to use the PFMA. And we said, go ahead. And I find it disingenuous that someone who's a chair of an entity would then say, I am powerless and I need your full and total support. And when he would and should have known that it would be there anyway. And so the question is, he should have gone ahead. He's the chair of the board. When you are chair of the board and you find there's malfeasance, your audit committee must act. Your risk committee must act. And if it affects your CEO, CFO, your HR committee must act. If not, then you use other state agencies.
He says you were being disingenuous to say you were powerless. How do you feel?
Well, I feel extremely offended by the use of the word disingenuous on me. It presupposes that I was being dishonest in what I was presenting. I've never said I was helpless. Never. I fought, but I said, we are in this together. You are the custodians of the law. Why are you quiet when the board that has been established by one of your own, who you deployed in government, is being subjected to such attack and it's being made to find it difficult to do its work? Why are you quiet? You are the custodians of South African laws. I didn't even say, help me to apply the public finance management. I had already started doing so, by the way. We had long started investigating as required by that law to the extent that there were irregularities that appeared in the audit findings of that year, and to the extent that the Auditor General had recommended certain remedial actions to be taken. We had begun to do so, but we were saying, take interest in this matter. By the way, the leadership of the ANC never even said, yeah, we support you applying the Public Finance Management Act. They said, well, you know, we were not ready for what you are raising. We would need time to think about it. And I said, look, I am here to tell you that I am acting because you have been quiet when we were subjected to sustained attack by Lucky Montana, who was the CEO and has finally been dismissed by the board because his contract had ended. You have kept quiet about it. So we will act and will apply the laws that exist. And it is common cause now that nothing happened. And it is not only about me and my board. Those who in the executive who continue to fight corruption in Prasa, the whistleblowers, Martha Ngoyi, Tiro Holele, and others, have been under sustained attack by the new board that is there of Prasa. They attempted even to stop them from giving evidence at the Zondo Commission. Who is speaking out against the conduct of these people?
I want to ask you about the President's testimony. He spent the last 2 days saying that he had 5 options and he chose the option to stay in his position as deputy president to resist from within, to try and fight from within. Were you aware at the time that there were members of the ANC in top leadership positions who were trying to tackle the emerging picture of state capture? And did President Ramaphosa at that time, after that meeting, perhaps come to you separately and say, I completely support you, this is really tough, but I've got you? Did you get that sort of support from Ramaphosa at the time?
He didn't come to me, but at the time when we were planning to appoint the group CEO for Prasa, I did talk to him, and I told him what was emerging in the investigations into corruption. In all fairness to him, at that point he said, continue to fight it, don't stop. But I wanted the voice to come officially from the ANC, so that the members of the ANC who might have been part of this pilfering would know that the party will not tolerate such behavior. Well, but I must also say, by the way, notwithstanding what we have said here today and what the president said, subjected to thorough questioning, he made a lot of concessions during his evidence. In the end, he praised my bravery and the stance that I took, the courage that I demonstrated, and I credit him for that. And I do think that he deserves our support. At least we have a president who says, I will fight corruption with you. He might not have said so when he was the deputy president, but he is saying it now. And he deserves the support of all South Africans, because if we are to fix our country and fix the ANC, which is so pivotal in ensuring that we end corruption, we must strengthen his hand.
Do you think that he's right when he says that we're going to destroy state capture? Yes, we're always going to have problems with corruption. Every country has corruption issues. But a systemic problem of state capture, he believes we are getting to the bottom of it. That we're looking perhaps at a situation within the ANC where we may have a few bad apples still, but that culture of corruption and capture is over. Do you believe him?
Well, I like his determination to do so. But the president must mobilize all his comrades in the NEC, at least the majority thereof. And I think I see a mind shift, particularly after the revelations that emerged at the State Capture Commission, that we reached a point where the ANC or nor the government can continue to bury its head in the sand, so that we finally have to confront this corruption and end it. But it will not end because we verbalize our intentions. It will end to the extent that what we say is reflected in our practice, in our actions. It's not gonna happen that we are sitting here. Prasa is no longer operating as a company, as an organ of state that provides transport to the poor. Cables have been stolen. Even rails are taken away, as if there's no police service in the country, as if there's no government. It's a free-for-all in the country. We've got to begin to act decisively against all of those things. Act decisively against those who are terrorizing whistleblowers, who are making their lives uncomfortable. I mean, they were taken to court. They took the board to court. The board lost. It went back and suspended them again. What is it that it wants to do? Why is it that it is targeting these particular individuals who were fighting corruption, who supported the work that our board was doing during his time in Prasa? This is a question that the president and his team must address. They can't ignore it. It's been in the media, it's been in courts. They've got to deal with this question. But for as long as we pay lip service to these critical questions, I our so-called defeat of the state capture will be a pipe dream.
Thank you so much for coming to chat to us this evening. I really do appreciate it. That was Popo Molefe. He, of course, a former Prasa board chair, also the former North West Premier.